Hello everyone, this is Tasia and BenTej, and this is my project number 6. First off, we started by creating survey questions. Basically what the requirements were, no open-ended questions, consistent answer choices, avoid questions that ask two things at once, so basically a double question. Always have relevant answers and always maintain neutral questions. So basically we want to ask questions that are not targeting people and where people can genuinely have a select amount of options. Next, these are the questions that I chose to use in my survey. We had to have a total of 8 questions, and these questions were actually revised by Miss Artiguez herself. So starting from the top, how many hours would you spend on social media each day? 0 to 1, 2 to 3, 4 to 5, or 5 plus. In the past week, how many hours of sleep were lost due to staying up late on social media? 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, no hours lost. Where did you discover the idea of the ideal body type? On social media, in a magazine, poster, in real life, in a movie? Based on the content you see on social media, what age do you think is the right age to start participating in social media like Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok? 6 years old and under, 7 to 10 years old, 11 to 13 years old, 14 to 16 years old, 17 years old or more, or no one should participate in social media. 5. What impact do you think social media has had on you? Positive impact, negative impact, no impact. How often do you find yourself comparing yourself to people you see on social media? Never, sometimes, frequently, most of the time, always, none. I do not use social media. How would you describe your anxiety level after using social media? Not anxious at all, somewhat anxious, very anxious, extremely anxious. And lastly, how often do you procrastinate on schoolwork because you are engaged in social media? Always, sometimes, frequently, most of the time, and never. So if you can tell, there is a pattern with these questions. The pattern is that the answers allow for all the options. They have every possible answer that you could give, and there are no negative answers. It's also not a double question, and so on. After I have figured out all of my questions and which ones I wanted to use, the next step was to put the questions and answers into SurveyMonkey. After that, I would post it and then share the link out, and then after that I would collect the results. So here is the questions inputted to SurveyMonkey and also the answers. After I created the survey in SurveyMonkey, the next step was to share the link with everyone. So the requirements were that we needed at least 15 respondents on the SurveyMonkey, and we needed more than 10 paper copies of our survey. So below you can see the link. I actually shared my link using Instagram, and then I printed out 12 copies of my survey and shared it out physically. That way we could get variety of response, so we can really test and see if the data kind of matches what we are researching. After we posted our link and shared it out and got our response, we actually had to close down the SurveyMonkey online and collect all the data that we had and input it into spreadsheets that we created using Excel. Here you can see that I have inputted the total online and the total paper answers for each answer. How many participants chose each answer, and at the end of the spreadsheet we can see the given percentage for each answer. Still using the Excel, we wanted to create graphs to have a better visual of that percentage for each question and how many participants answered each answer. So basically, to get a better visual of this, we had to create graphs, pie graphs for each question. And if you can see the question number 3 and question number 1, those are examples of how they looked like on my project. But it was up to us to design the pie graphs how we wanted it to look. After we have created our spreadsheets and the graphs and everything else, we had to end our research with a research paper, of course. Basically, this research paper will cover all the results that we got. However, in this research paper, we students had to focus on 5 questions, meaning they had to disregard at least 3 of the questions that they originally had so that we could focus more on what was important. So my questions ended up being 1, 2, 3, 5, and 8. And I disregarded 4, 6, and 7. Lastly, my design inspiration comes from my uncle who recently passed away from COVID. It also represents the Hawaiian culture, and that's why I decided to make the triangles a little bit different than my uncle's tattoo there, but he is definitely the inspiration along with my Hawaiian culture. And that completes my research. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Take care.